So one of the questions I get asked a lot is, how can I lose a stone? What's the quickest way to lose a stone? So I thought that would be a really good topic to talk about today. The main thing about this is you need to sort of change what your target is. I think a lot of people concentrate on weight a lot when actually weight shouldn't be the main target. Weight is almost a byproduct of you trying to lose fat percent. So these are two different things. A lot of people want to lose weight, but really what you need to be thinking about is, I want to lose fat percent. And then a lot of the time, a byproduct of that is you lose weight because you're dropping fat percent. But this doesn't happen for everyone. So if you're doing an exercise regime alongside losing fat, then what sometimes happens is you do add muscle, lose fat, but when you get on the scales, you actually weigh the same. This is why you need to start concentrating on fat loss rather than weight loss. We do recommend taking weight, so we do look at your weight, but this is just another indicator to show you how you are doing, what's your progress. So first of all, to answer the question is, you need to be looking at fat percent, not weight. All right. Now, how do you actually lose fat percent? Now, the way to lose fat percent, you've got two different things. You've got muscles, you've got fat. All right. Now, what a lot of people think is when you train hard and you do heavy training sessions, then what that'll do is that burns fat. It doesn't burn fat at all. What it does is it burns calories. Now, to lose fat percent, what you need to do is you've got your maintenance calories and you need to lower those calories, how many you consume in a day. Now, that calorie deficit that you consume or you burn off through exercise, that deficit is what loses fat. All right. Now, the muscle side of things, that is where training comes in. So if you're doing some sort of like heavy weights program, then that will build muscle. Now, obviously that is different to losing fat percent. It's almost two separate things. What you do need to take into consideration is when you are in a heavy calorie deficit, now it's almost impossible to gain muscle. So what you need to do is you need to think of two things. Now, do I just want to concentrate on losing fat percent size? Do you want to just lose a lot of size very quickly? Or would you rather lose fat percent slowly, as in size and fat percent slowly, and build muscle at the same time, which can be done? Now, those are the two questions you need to ask yourself. So, is it all about fat percent? Am I quite large? Do I need to bring my fat percent down quite quickly? And if that's the case, what you're better off doing is just concentrating on fat percent only, just dropping fat percent. Obviously do training, but like I said, if you're in quite a big calorie deficit, then it's going to be almost impossible to add muscle. You will tone up a little bit, but you may lose a little bit of fat, muscle levels as you're losing fat. Does that make sense? Yeah. The other side is, how much fat have you got to lose? How much size have you got to lose? Now, if it's not as much as some people, obviously we'll discuss this as your trainer. I will discuss this when you come into the academy. But if you've only got a small amount of fat to lose and you really want to concentrate on building muscle, what we can do is we can put you on a small calorie deficit, all right? A really small calorie deficit, but then you train hard on that little small calorie deficit and your protein levels are high. This will have a different effect than just having a massive calorie deficit. The effect this will have on your body is your fat percent will go down because you're in a little calorie deficit, but because you're training hard and your protein levels are high, then your muscle will either stay the same but tighten up and obviously tone up because you're losing fat and you'll be able to see the muscle, or you will gain a little bit of muscle. All right. So That's how it's done. Now, if you're literally just wanting to build muscle, now that's a different thing altogether. Now you've got two choices if you want to just build muscle, all right? One is forget about your fat percent and really just go on a calorie surplus. So that's you're having more calories than what you need. That'll build a lot of muscle, but you also might gain some fat in there. So bodybuilders do this. So they go in a surplus, they build muscle, but some fat. And then about 2 to 3 weeks before competition, they then go into a calorie deficit and cut the fat back. Does that make sense? So you've got three different things. So going back to the question, how quickly can I lose a stone in a month? So you need, first of all, you need to look at fat percent, not weight. All right. So the way to look at this is the tape measure around your middle. So keeping an eye on the tape measure, what that's doing. And the other indicator is photos. How does your photo look from this week to the next week to the next week? And then you get them lined up and you can see the difference. Once you start seeing the difference, that's when everything comes to life. Your motivation levels go higher and all of a sudden, everything is going in the right direction, all right? Now, on the calorie deficit, if you've got a lot of size to lose, you can go in quite a heavy calorie deficit. Now, people say, oh, you can damage your metabolism. People say, oh, if I don't eat enough, then I'll put weight on. Crazy. So you get all these myths, but really nothing will happen. All that will happen is the bigger the calorie deficit, the more fat percent and the more size you lose. Simple as that. All right. You can lower your metabolism. So people say, oh, your metabolism's gone. You can lower your metabolism for up to 15%, but that's it. The rest of the body is firing. So if you're on a big calorie deficit, the bigger the calorie deficit, the more fat percent that you will lose. Period. Simple. All right. Now, the only danger with this is maintaining over a long time. So if you're in 1,500 calorie deficit, yeah, you'll get great results and your results will come quick. But how long can you keep that up? Remember, if you're on a long journey and you've got a lot of weight to lose, you need to stay sane. You need to look after your mental health. So with our help again, like I said, you need to find the balance between how much calorie deficit you put yourself in, how quickly you can get results, and what makes you stay patient, all right? And what your tolerance levels are. So I've got some clients that just don't need to eat and that their motivation is so high, they can put themselves on a really high calorie deficit and they don't care. Whereas a lot of my clients, they love food, they love living, they love drinking, and they love socializing. So I only put them in a certain calorie deficit so they can still live their life and they can continue that over a longer period of time. So the answer is, it's up to you how long you have got to lose fat percent. So do you really need to do it in a month? Or can you spread that out and just enjoy the journey and live your life whilst you're doing that? And that is the answer I would say. I would say slow it down, get a nice calorie deficit that is manageable for you and your lifestyle, and then just stay on that journey so it doesn't lead to binging. All right. I hope that helps, guys. If you've got any more questions on that, let me know. But yeah, that's what I would say. I would say concentrate on getting a journey that is manageable for you. All right. Thanks, guys.